Welcome back, everybody, to Gibbs Drops the Needle. We have another passing in the music world that I would like to talk about today. It happened earlier this week. It was Clive Davis passing away at the age of 94 on June 22nd, 2026. Clive Davis passed away at his home at the age of 94 on June 22nd of 2026. He has been hospitalized for respiratory problems before his passing, so speculation is that it was related, though 94 years old, passing away at home, hopefully peacefully. And I just want to take this opportunity to go through his career and his impact on the music community, as this was one where I had always heard the name Clive Davis, but I didn't really associate him with all that he has done in his music career. And there were a lot of artists that I didn't know he worked with and or discovered. So just a great music career to get to go over, and I just want to take this time to honor his legacy and really go through everything that he did throughout his long career. So Clive Davis was born April 4th of 1932. He was born in New York City to Jewish parents, Herman and Florence Davis. His father worked as an electrician and salesman. Clive was raised in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and attended Erasmus Hall High School. His mother died at age 47, and his father died the following year while Clyde was still a teenager. He then moved in with his married sister, who lived in Bayside, Queens. Clive would attend New York University College of Arts and Science, graduating magna cum laude with a degree in political science and Phi Beta Kappa in 1953. He received a full scholarship to Harvard Law School and graduated in 1956. Clive would practice law in a small firm in New York, then moved on to the firm of Rosenman, Collin, Kay, Petschek, and Freund 2 years later, where partner Ralph Collin had CBS as a client. Clive was subsequently hired by a former colleague at the firm, Harvey Sheen, to become assistant counsel of CBS subsidiary Columbia Records at the age of 28, and then general counsel the following year. As part of a reorganization of Columbia Records Group President Goddard Lieberson appointed Davis as an administrative vice president and general manager in 1965. In 1966, CBS formed the Columbia CBS Group, which recognized CBS's recorded music operations into CBS Records, with Clive heading the new unit. The next year, Davis was appointed president and became interested in the newest generation of folk rock and rock and roll. One of his earliest pop signings was the British folk musician Donovan, who enjoyed a string of successful hit singles and album releases in the US on the Epic Records label. The same year, Davis hired 23-year-old recording artist Tony Orlando as general manager of the Columbia publishing subsidiary April Blackwood Music. Orlando went on to become vice president of Columbia/CBS Music and signed Barry Manilow in 1969. In June of 1967, Davis attended the Monterey Pop Festival after his friends and business associate Lou Adler convinced him to. He immediately signed Janis Joplin with Big Brother and the Holding Company, and Columbia went on to sign Laura Nyro, the Electric Flag, Santana, the Chamber Brothers, Bruce Springsteen, Chicago, Billy Joel, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Loggins and Messina, Aerosmith, and Pink Floyd for rights to release the material outside of Europe. So just a huge list, an all-star lineup of artists that he had worked with. One of the most commercially successful recordings released during Clive Davis's tenure at Columbia was Lynn Anderson's Rose Garden in late 1970. It was Davis who insisted that Rose Garden be the country singer's next single release. The song crossed over and was a #1 hit in 16 countries worldwide. Rose Garden remained the biggest selling album by a female artist for 27 years. In 1972, Davis signed both Earth, Wind and Fire and Aerosmith to Columbia Records, which, side note, I know I have mentioned Pink Floyd has been my favorite band. Aerosmith is probably my second favorite band. When I was a child, they were my #1, and then I discovered Pink Floyd and fell in love with them. But Aerosmith definitely #2. I've seen them live 3 times, I think, and they're just an amazing band. So kind of cool to find out that Clive Davis had things to do with them signing to Columbia Records. In 1979, Aerosmith mentioned Davis in the song No Surprise, in which Steven Tyler sings, quote, "Old Clive Davis said he's surely gonna make us a star. I'm gonna make you a star just the way you are," end quote. Starting on December 30th of 1978, Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead occasionally changed the lyrics of the Dead standard Jackstraw in concert from, quote, "We used to play for silver, now we play for life," to, quote, "We used to play for acid, now we play for Clive," end quote. One of the last bands Davis tried to sign to Columbia Records was the Detroit band Death. A Rolling Stone article dated July 5th of 1973 reported that CBS fired Clive Davis amid allegations of misuse of funds and providing drugs to artists and disc jockeys as part of the alleged payola scandal. Davis, however, denied that his dismissal was connected in any way to drugs or payola. After Clive Davis was let go from CBS Records in 1973 for allegedly using company funds to bankroll his son's bar mitzvah, Columbia Pictures hired him to be a consultant for the company's Bell Records label. Davis took time out to write his memoirs and then founded Arista Records in 1974. The company was named after New York City Secondary School Honor Society of the same name, of which Clive Davis was a member. At Arista, Davis would sign Barry Manilow, followed by Aretha Franklin, Dionne Warwick, Patti Smith, Westlife, Al Jorgensen, The Outlaws, Eric Carmen, Kenny G, the Bay City Rollers, Exposé, Taylor Dayne, Milli Vanilli, Ace of Base, Air Supply, Ray Parker Jr., Radio, and Alicia Keys, and he brought Carly Simon, Melissa Manchester, Grateful Dead, The Kinks, Jermaine Stewart, Gil Scott-Heron, and Lou Reed to the label. He also co-founded Arista Nashville in 1989 with Tim Dubois, which became the home to Alan Jackson, Brooks and Dunn, Pam Tillis, and Brad Paisley. So just once again, huge list of big-time artists that he had signed or worked with. He didn't stop there either. Clive Davis founded LaFace Records with L.A. Reid and Babyface. LaFace subsequently became the home of TLC, Usher, Outkast, Pink, and Toni Braxton. Once again, big names there. He assisted Sean Puffy Combs with the creation of Bad Boy Records. It became the home of the Notorious B.I.G., Craig Mack, Combs, Mace, 112, and Faith Evans, although Davis would later admit that he never quite understood rap music. In 1998, Davis signed LFO, who became best known for their 1999 hit single Summer Girls. So again, I know I'm repeating myself, but the list of people that he has signed and worked with throughout the years is just impressive. If there was a big name in music in a certain time period, he was probably tied to it somehow. So just a huge credit to him and his ear for music. And taking chances on things that maybe he didn't quite understand. I mean, he alluded there to not quite understanding rap music, but that didn't stop him from investing and partaking in bringing up these rap artists and blowing up their careers. So, as I said, he just has a great ear for music or great intuition, and just such an impressive list of people that he's worked with through the years. During the Arista years, he set up his own production company, Clive Davis Entertainment, for a 2-year first look agreement with movie studio TriStar Pictures in 1987. Davis was made aware of Cissy Houston's daughter Whitney Houston after he saw the Houstons perform at a New York City nightclub. Impressed with what he'd heard, Davis signed her to Arista. Houston became one of the biggest selling artists in music history under the guidance of Davis at Arista. So another big name there with Whitney Houston. Clive Davis would leave Arista in 2000 and started J Records, an independent label with financial backing from Arista parent Bertelsmann Music Group, named with the middle initial of Davis and his 4 children. BMG would buy a majority stake in J Records in 2002, and Davis would become president and CEO of the larger RCA Music Group. Clive Davis's continued success in breaking new artists was recognized by the music industry A&R site Hitquarters when the executive was named world's #1 A&R of 2001 based on worldwide chart data for that year. In 2004, BMG merged with Sony Music Entertainment to form Sony BMG, with the assets of the former. CBS Records, renamed Sony Music Entertainment in 1991, now under Sony's ownership. The joint venture would mean a return of sorts for Davis to his former employer. Davis remained with RCA Label Group until 2008, when he was named Chief Creative Officer for Sony BMG. Clive Davis was elevated to Chief Creative Officer of Sony Music Entertainment, a title which he held until his death. As part of a corporate restructuring when Sony BMG became Sony Music Entertainment in late 2008, when BMG sold its shares to Sony. Arista Records and J Records, which were both founded by Davis, were dissolved in October of 2011 through the restructuring of RCA Records. All artists under those labels were moved to RCA Records. So that was his music career. In his personal life, Clive Davis was married and divorced twice. He was married to Helen Cohen from 1956 to 1965, and then married to Janet Adelberg from 1965 to 1985. He had 4 children, including Doug Davis, who is a music executive and Grammy Award-winning record producer, so runs in the family a little bit there. Davis had 8 grandchildren. In 2013, at age 80, Davis publicly came out as a bisexual in his autobiography, The Soundtrack of My Life. On the daytime talk show Katie, he told host Katie Couric that he hoped his coming out would lead to greater understanding of his bisexuality. The autobiography was the basis for the 2-hour documentary Clive Davis, The Soundtrack of Our Lives. As for his legacy, which I don't think needs much explanation or help stating from me very much, because just look at the impact not only during an era of music, but multiple eras, multiple genres. I mean, huge legacy here. He touched all genres, and that's impressive because, as stated earlier, he wasn't necessarily a fan himself or understanding himself of certain genres, but that didn't stop him from having that intuition and signing these artists and helping out these artists. So legacy doesn't really need to be stated much, but still, I would like to go over his accomplishments and what others have thought about his legacy. So, in the obituary for Clive Davis, the New York Times called Davis a, quote, hit making titan of the music industry, end quote, who became one of, quote, music's most powerful executives, end quote. He was noted for elevating the careers of several influential musicians, all of whom we have mentioned prior. The New York Times regarded him as one of the, quote, few non performers in the music industry to become a household name, end quote. The BBC regarded Davis as, quote, one of the most influential music executives in the history of rock and pop, end quote. CNN also called Clive a, quote, monumental music producer and record industry titan who nurtured stars in his career, end quote. The Guardian noted his ability to find musical talent as he, quote, predicted music's biggest stars like no one else, end quote. Grammy Award winner Diane Warren called Davis the, quote, greatest music man of all time, end quote. The Hollywood Reporter would give credit to his golden ear who helped elevate Janis Joplin's career and, quote, made Bruce Springsteen and Whitney Houston household names and carried Carlos Santana and Aretha Franklin to newfound fame, end quote. Clive Davis was also considered a bisexual icon who helped shift the cultural attitude around bisexuality, with Yahoo calling him a, quote, bisexual star maker, end quote. An alumnus of New York University, Davis was a significant benefactor to the institution. The recorded music division of the Tisch School of the Arts is named in his honor as the Clive Davis Institute of Recorded Music. Clive was portrayed in a movie as well by Stanley Tucci in Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody, a Sony Pictures biopsy about Houston's life and career. Clive also served as a producer on that film. As for awards and honors given to him throughout his career, as a producer, Clive won 4 Grammy Awards. Davis also received the Grammy Trustees Award in 2000 and the President's Merit Award at the 2009 Grammys. In 2011, the 200-seat theater at the Grammy Museum was named the Clive Davis Theater. In 2000, Davis was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the non-performers category. The same year, he received the Golden Plate Award of the American Academy of Achievement. In 2015, he was recognized by Equality Forum as one of the 31 icons of the LGBT History Month. Davis was a 2018 honoree at the New Jewish Homes 8 over 80 Gala. Those 4 Grammy Awards that he ended up winning were for the Album of the Year in 2000 for Supernatural by Santana, the Best Rock Album Award in 2000 for Supernatural by Santana, the Grammy Award for Best Pop Vocal Album in 2006 for Breakaway by Kelly Clarkson, and the Grammy Award for Best R&B Album in 2009 for Jennifer Hudson's Jennifer Hudson. So, again, huge, impactful career. Music today would probably not be the same had he not helped and discovered so much of this talent. I mean, you're talking talent that not only were able to put out good songs and good albums, but you're talking about iconic talent that shaped music and that went on to inspire other musicians that are maybe popular today. So it can't be stated enough what Clive Davis has done for the music industry, and all condolences go out to his family and his friends, and I hope they take peace in the fact that for generations to come, everyone will look at Clive Davis as such a positive impact in music. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Until next time, I'm Gibbs. This is Gibbs Drops the Needle. Stay safe and be kind.